Hello from Gardening at Douentza here in Ireland, and this is a long-awaited video. So in this video today, what I'm going to do is divide my monstrous Cymbidium, which is this enormous specimen you see beside me. Now, it's not a job I've been looking forward to. It's going to be difficult, but I'm sure we'll get through it. So let's see how it's done. You're very welcome to my greenhouse, and today we're going to divide up this ginormous Cymbidium. Now, before we start, just to let you know the best time of year to do this, and it's after the plant has finished flowering, so that would be spring. It's not spring now, but sometimes you just really need to do a job, and that's what we're going to do here. So what I need for the task is some mix, and I also have some very heavy duty knives. Now, these are kitchen knives, and I'm not sure if I'm actually going to need them, but I've sterilized them just in case, and also a sterilized scissors. So I guess without further ado, let's have a look at the plant and see what we're up against. Right, so come on in here and we will take a look at this plant. Now, this plant is really, really big, and it flowered magnificently for me this spring. It has yellow flowers and it just had spikes all the way around. But as you can see, this plant has a lot of dead growth in the middle. These are all dead pseudobulbs, and they need to come out. And what we can also see, if we look up against the edge here, if we look down there, you see there's a growth coming there, and that growth is right up against the edge of the pot. Now, Cymbidiums like to be tightly potted, but that's a bit ridiculous, and I fear that the new growths won't be able to actually have any space to grow. So we're going to repot it now, even though it's not the ideal time. I'm just going to be very careful to try my best not to break the new growths. So I guess the first thing we need to do is try and get this monster out of the pot, and that is always easier said than done. And what I may have to do is go around the edge of the pot with a knife to kind of loosen it. Now, this really is a difficult job. I'll just kind of remove these stakes that I used to support the flower spikes earlier on in the year, and I'm just going to kind of push down on this plastic pot as I go around in an attempt to loosen the plant somewhat. I don't know if it's going to work, but we will try. I'll just take out the label there. Now there's no movement there whatsoever. Okay, I actually feel it loosening a little bit here. So what we're going to do is try and pull it out. And it's very difficult to know where to grab because I don't want to pull off the leaves, and there's nothing to grab really on the... Oh, here it's coming. Okay, there we go. Okay, here's our monster, and very interestingly, here's a a label from a long time ago, which seems to have been eaten by the plant. And I'm just going to now just kind of loosen some of the bark and take it off, and see how those roots are. Now, there's quite a healthy root system. Look at it, good fleshy roots. I don't actually see any broken or well, any rotten ones, but I guess time will tell. And everything is very, very tightly matted, so this job, it's actually loosening up. I'm quite pleasantly surprised at at the fact that this is coming apart, because I have divided Cymbidiums in the past, and basically the root ball has been so dense there was nothing you could do really except go down the middle of it with a bread knife but perhaps that is not going to be the case today. Sorry to disappoint. I'm actually really pleasantly surprised at how easy this job is going, because as I mentioned before, these can really be a pig to repot. Now you see there are so many fleshy, juicy roots. A couple that are broken, but we'll see if we can deal with those in a short time. And just as I work my way around here, taking my time, and this is the main thing with orchid repotting or any kind of repotting, just take your time. Don't be in a rush. I mean, what's the big deal? Just do it properly rather than quickly. And just a reminder that I have made a video before on Cymbidium care, which I'll link to at the very end of this, so look out for that. I've got bits of polystyrene in here, which I used at the very base, and these will come out now. And if we look in here, there's a kind of a mass here in the shape of a pot, and this is the size of the root ball the last time I potted it, and you can tell that I probably didn't worry out these roots. I just basically removed it from the pot and put it into a bigger pot and put new compost around, and it has rewarded me with all these nice roots, and it has done really well. So, you know, this is my way of repotting a cymbidium, but you can do it that way as well if you like, and just disturb the plant as little as possible. Now, as you can see, we have various roots. We have ones, nice white ones with green tips that are healthy and living, and especially in the center of the plant we have blackened dead roots. And you know, this isn't surprising really, since the center of the plant has died off like all perennials do. So looking at the crown here, you can see that the pseudobulbs in the center have died off, and they correspond to those dead roots we see down below. So when we divide this plant, we're going to get rid of all that dead stuff. Okay, so now the difficult bit is division. And if we look here, there are some natural divisions. This piece here is one plant. So basically all of that stuff there. We have potentially another division down here, which is longer than it is deep. We have something else going on over here, and we have perhaps 3 pseudobulbs and a new growth over here. Now the general advice when dividing cymbidiums is to keep a minimum of 5 pseudobulbs, and in that way then you should have the plant flowering the following spring. But we are not going to be able to do that in this case, because we've got some parts of the plant that are very separated from the rest of the green stuff, but they have fewer than 5 pseudobulbs. I guess I might start over here, and what I'm going to try and do is kind of break this piece off with my hands and hope that the roots come with it. So here we have a chunk of green pseudobulbs. We've got a new growth here, which I should try not to break, and we have a lot of like kind of, you know, spent sheaths, spent flower spikes. Look at all the flower spikes. This plant has flowered and flowered and flowered. It has done exceedingly well. So, and here is where the dead pseudobulbs start. So I'm just going to kind of feel my way. Now, this piece here is the one that, now I'm trying my best not to freak out here because I absolutely hate spiders. They're good in the greenhouse, but oh my god. I think I've uncovered a spider's nest. That's just lovely. Okay, look, that's a dead pseudobulb there, but there's a natural division here. So I'm going to try and break here, including that dead pseudobulb, and then afterwards we'll worry about removing it from the green bits. Okay, now this is difficult, this is hard, and it's better if you can do it by hand than if you use a knife, because you've more control over what you break. At the moment I seem to be having no control because nothing is breaking. I felt or heard something give a bit there. Okay, we're actually getting somewhere here, although it's tough going. It's also quite hard to get a grip. Okay, I'm going to take one of my knives and just going to cut down here a little bit through the dead stuff. Hopefully, I think this time something is actually happening. Okay, right, there we go. Now that's my first division. It has 1, 2, 3 pseudobulbs and a new growth. And see the new growth there. And it has a lot of dead pseudobulbs behind, which we are now going to, and it has roots, okay? So we're now going to take off these pseudobulbs. 1, and their corresponding roots, hopefully. Now, there may be a case for leaving some of these spent pseudobulbs, since we only have 3 pseudobulbs, 3 green pseudobulbs in this instance. But I don't feel like doing that at the moment. One dead pseudobulb, which is out now. Okay. And then just having a look at the roots. We will remove some of these roots. Now with cymbidiums, what you can actually do is, if they have too much root, you can cut it off. And I think that's what we're going to do in this instance, because that root is longer than the plant itself. So I'm just going to snip it here. Okay. So here we have one division, which I'll put aside. And now look at what next to divide on this monster. And I think I'm going with this section here on the right. And we are going to use our trusty bread knife, as we did last time. It seemed to be the only way to divide this monster. Well, let's turn it over. And here's the other side. Come on. This is a tough job. Okay, I think I've actually broken this pseudobulb off, this green pseudobulb. Now I'm going to throw that out, discard it. Never mind. So it's actually clearer now what to do. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pseudobulbs and a new growth there at the front. So that's what we're going to remove. I'm just kind of cutting just to the base of the plant, but before it turns into roots. Now, let's see if we have any luck here. Being careful of the new growth. Wow. Okay. Right. This is our second division. And let me not lose my cool now and just rip the roots. What we want to do is untangle the roots as we take this piece out. Oops, there was a bit of breaking. Okay, so this is our next piece, and this is a good piece. I'm going to take off some of this flower spike here. And we still have our new growth intact, which is always good. Have fun taking off the sheets. Take off the old flower spikes. There. And there. And now we're going to remove the old pseudobulbs. So you can see I have 3 old pseudobulbs at the back, which are doing nothing except taking up space in the pot. I mean, this plant does not need these old back bulbs to give it additional food. So we'll try and break them off. Try being the operative word. Okay, there's one. Okay. Same story. Okay, last one. Okay. Right, so we've exposed flesh there, which will definitely need a drop of cinnamon. And you may wonder why I'm not washing this as I go, why I'm not dipping it in water to clean up the roots. And the answer is that I don't want to introduce an infection into these open wounds. The plant can do for a while without needing any water after the repotting, and what I'll do is apply some cinnamon to this and let it just spend a while to heal. And now we're going to, I guess, basically cut the plant in 2. Try and go up here. That's a good pseudobulb. Okay. I'm just cutting through dead pseudobulbs now, so don't worry about that sound. Now you can see how the plant is dividing now into 2 pieces. Finally. Okay. Oh, look, yay! Okay. I keep saying okay, and it's not okay. But I think now what we're doing is just untangling roots. And there we have 2 pieces. This one has a lot of dead pseudobulbs on it, which I'm going to have to take off. But not all of them, because if you can see what's going on there, if I were to try and excavate like that, I'd be sure to break off like one, say for example that pseudobulb with the new growth, and I don't want to do that. So I'll go across here and I'll leave it 1 or 2 old pseudobulbs to just hold the plant together. So that's what we're doing here with this one now. And I'm just going to cut here. Okay. Okay, so that's my good plant, and that's all just dead stuff. And you see a lot of the dead stuff has good roots on it. And in fact, if you were short of green pseudobulbs, these would act very well as food stores for the plant and just give it that bit more energy. And of course you can propagate old back bulbs as well and get new plants in 2 to 3 years, but I'm not doing that now. And we've a new little shoot coming there, which is good, whether it's a pseudobulb or a spike. Could be a spike at this stage of the game. And now I'm working with my final piece, which is the biggest piece. It's got a new growth there. And I think I saw some on the inside. There he is, or she. And what I'm going to do with this final piece is to just take off a couple of these dead pseudobulbs, hopefully by breaking them. This one looks like it might come off relatively easily, so we'll just try this way. And now I will just try and remove some of the base of that pseudobulb that has been left in place. Cutting down here. And by cutting over here. Okay. So this piece is out, and unfortunately it'll bring some good roots with it, so it goes. Okay, so that's gone. And after a lot of work, this is what I'm left with. One large division here with new growths, one small division here with a new growth that may be slightly damaged, a medium-sized division with a healthy new growth, and a second medium-sized division with a healthy new growth. And what I'm going to do now is, with my trusty cinnamon, I'm just going to apply a little bit onto any open wounds. And for example here, in this instance, on the big division, now that seems actually quite dry, but you know what, we're going to put some cinnamon in there. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to repot the divisions, and I'm going to put them in the same pot. So I'm going to reuse this pot we had a minute ago. In the meantime, we've washed it. It's been washed out, and I'm going to put 3 of the divisions back in here. This one here is for a friend of mine, so we'll just leave that aside. Okay, so with the back-breaking work behind us, we're now going to get on with potting on. And for potting cymbidiums, which are terrestrial orchids, you can use some peat. So come in and have a look at what I'm going to use today. So this is what is sold as orchid bark in garden centres here in Ireland, and it's not really fit for purpose. There's a lot of peat mixed into that, and we're going to use that to pot up this orchid. I would only ever use this kind of mix for cymbidium or other terrestrial orchids. I'm going to put some of the mix first at the bottom of the pot, and with that in place, now I'm going to properly position my cymbidiums. And a good trick, if you're ever placing your cymbidium in and the roots are very long, you can kind of twist as you go like this, just to make sure that the roots find their position. So, new shoot facing outwards. Whoops. New shoot facing outwards. New shoot facing outwards. It's hard to have enough hands to do things sometimes. Okay, and now I'm just going to backfill the orchid bark around the plants. And when deciding on pot size, we did mention that cymbidiums like to be pot bound, but you need to, when repotting, leave 2 inches all the way around the side. So that's about 2 inches. Now it's very important to make sure that your plant is firmly potted. It needs to be very secure in the pot, because an orchid whose roots are not firmly secured will not do well. So I'm pressing down all the way around and making sure that this plant is very firmly anchored. A bit like cattleyas like that, you know. You need to make sure that they're secure in their pot. Okay, and now I can tell you that this cymbidium has been repotted, and it's gone back into the same pot, but hopefully it'll do really well from now on, because it doesn't have to deal with, it's just got more space and it doesn't have to deal with all of this dead material just taking up needlessly its position. So I hope you found this video useful, and again I'll mention, while putting compost in my hair, I'll mention that I've made a video before about cymbidium care, a kind of total cymbidium care video, which I'll link to at the end. So if you're interested in cymbidiums, please do check that out. And also I'll link to another channel of fellow YouTuber Fernanda, who is in Portugal and grows the most beautiful cymbidiums. So if you want a flower fix, then please check out her video also at the end. And of course my video of this beauty when it was in flower earlier on this year. Thanks very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, then please consider subscribing to make sure you get lots of new videos about orchids and plants and all kinds of fun planty green stuff. Thanks for watching.